Okay, so we're back. Thank you, everyone, for coming back. It's time for some replay, and I just wanted to pop up a quick chart that I screenshotted for you really quickly. I mentioned that I don't like to take I'll take 3 stop outs in a row on an instrument, and it's usually because and then I shut it down for that instrument. And when I do take 3 stop outs, it's usually because obviously I have the direction wrong or the price action is just ugly. So this would be an example where, yes, we had confirmation of trades, but the price action really was pretty ugly. It wasn't respecting the 8, and down here it wasn't even respecting the 21 much. So this is an area and a time when we can get 3 stop outs in a row because, here they came down below the 8, they hit the 21, and then they even hit the 34 here on the yellow-orange area. So this is an example where when I start seeing this and take a couple stop outs, I'll look and reevaluate. And so here you have an attractive chart, and this is the difference between the two. This is the same exact time frame. Instead of the NQ, we have the YM. And let's see, there we go. And you can see this is the same exact time frame, but the market structure within the YM was much more attractive. So that's when you look to the instrument when I've said, make sure you have the instrument with the most attractive market structure. This is the most attractive market structure because it's clean. So they're respecting the 8. They're still respecting the 8. We probably had a little news here, and here they are still respecting it. Let me show you. I pulled up another one here, and this is the same exact time frame. And this is the ES, and you can see how attractive this is as well. It's clean. They're respecting the boundaries, minus one, spike here, which was, like I said, probably news. Let's look at another, and this is in CL. And even during this time frame, CL was more attractive than what the NQ was. So you can see, let me pull up the NQ again, how this price, even though we had the 21 riding, we had the 8, price action and market structure was just very unattractive. So go to the instrument with the most attractive market structure where they're respecting the boundaries and switch over to that. So I hope that makes sense. Okay, so we took a vote, and November 6th was the date, and here we are, November 6th. Hope everyone has it pulled up. When I'm on a 5-minute time frame, I use a 20-tick stop loss in the NQ, 10-tick on any other instrument, 8 or 10. So you see our things here, 8 or 10 on a 5-minute chart. But in the NQ, I use 20, which ends up being $100, right? But on a 1-minute chart, I'll use a 10 stop loss on the NQ, which is $50. And on a 1 minute, I make sure to use an 8 on the 1 minute chart for any other instrument. And then I just move it to 1 to 2 ticks below either the current forming bar or the previous bar that has been closed. But we'll go through that. We have a lot to get through, so I'll try to talk fast so I don't waste anybody's time. And we can make this as valuable as possible. And then you can always replay it once you get it. So here we have, I always look in the background. Here we are, we're trading currently over in this area, obviously, but I always look in the background. And in the background right here, we have a top around 70.35 for this time frame and this time period, and we have a bottom around 69.32, and they kept making higher highs, 69.45 and then 69.67. So those are areas that I'm going to look to see if they can break through or hold those areas, as well as 70.35 in the background here. You can see they've moved over here from accumulation, right? Flat, volatile. This is when we do not look to take a trade. Okay, they moved out of it. They had a nice push up. They came back down, and now they've moved into distribution. So between 70.35 and 69.32, they've moved into distribution. They've gone on one side of the 34 EMAs to the other, one side to the other. And if you look at nothing more than where the 8 and the 34, or excuse me, the 8 and the 21 EMAs sit, you know that you want no part of this. So when the 8 and the 21 are trading inside of the 34s and they're not out in alignment properly, if you look no further than that, that's when you know we most certainly do not take a trade. So in this area right here where they're in distribution, which means on a 5-minute chart, every time frame has its own market structure, and it depends on what time frame the market is going to trade on for that day, and it really does depend. They don't always trade on a 5-minute, they don't always trade on a daily, they don't always trade on a 60-minute. However, the daily is the dominant market structure to look at. So as you can tell, they're not respecting the 34s within this 5-minute time frame chart. They are going on either side of the 34s. This is distribution. We do not trade in distribution. Okay, and now we move over to the right side of the chart. We've discussed this in the background. Always look in the background. Now we see they're starting to pull out and look as though they want to move in the into longs and into buying the market. The 34s are moving up into 2 o'clock angle. We have the 21 above the 34s. We have the 8 above the 21. Okay, now we look down here. The slower CCI is dipping below the 0 line. Let's see what they can do with this red CCI. And a 1-minute time frame is in shorts. At the moment, 5-minute time frame is in longs, and the higher time frames are in longs. Remember, for this trade, we do want the 1 minute in alignment for this trade, because we do have tight stops, and the 1 minute really should be in alignment so we don't get stopped out. 2 really quick notes that I have that I made on the rules for you guys is, one rule I have for myself is when we test the 21, when everything is in alignment and we come back and we test the 21, sometimes the 1 minute will not be in alignment on the Leeloo trend down here. So I will allow myself one trade with a tight stop when we come test the 21. If the 1 minute is not in alignment, I will allow myself one trade. So that's one rule I made for myself, and you'll see that on the rules sheet. I made sure to update that. Also, I already mentioned this, but if I have 3 losers in a row in one instrument, and actually I even try to stick with 2, but absolutely no more than 3, I will wait and just look at another instrument. And we already discussed that. You saw price action when it looks unattractive and where it's not clean, versus another market during the same exact time frame where the market structure was clean. So go to the instrument where the price action is clean. And when I have 3 losers in a row, I either have the market direction wrong, or or the time frame of that chart and that instrument is just not being respectful, and it's very choppy. Okay, so let's give replay a start. Replay was just the easiest way I thought we could go through things and discuss things in, a quicker fashion for education's sake. One thing you might want to do is, once we go through a couple days in replay and discuss the market structure as it unfolds, is go back through and trade this same time frame, same day, a couple of times on your own with us while this is playing, and just to get a feel for it. That might be beneficial. Okay, let's speed this up here. And I know that, let me just pause this for a second. I won't keep the record going the whole time. It would just be a waste of your guys' time when you're listening to this after the fact. So I will just pause the recording when we get to something of value, or we have something to point out in the market structure. I'll just hit replay again, or excuse me, record again, and that way when you're listening to it, it won't drive you nuts that we have some empty airspace or anything like that. Okay, let's look at this really quickly. We already discussed all this in the background. Now let's see what's currently happening. And what's currently happening and is what keeps my hands out of this trade is right here. The slower CCI has passed below the zero line. We do not take a trade. This is not the setup that we look for when the slower CCI crosses the zero line. We hands off, don't even look to take the trade. Just wait, sit on your hands. Okay, and also the 1 minute is not in alignment to go long, so we are also sitting on our hands. We will not take a trade. Although we do have the 34s, we have the 21, we have the 8 all in alignment. This is not in alignment down here on the south side of the chart. Okay, slower CCI crosses zero line, 1 minute is not in alignment. Okay, let's speed it up. I'll pause this here for a minute. And I also wanted to say thank you everyone for letting us do the replay session on another day. Hopefully that gave you a chance to study everything and think of any questions you have. And yeah, let everybody's brain rest. I know mine was a hair fried. So now we have this, the slower CCI. Let's see what happens here. Let's see if we can push up. Even though this is holding, there's a specific way that everything interacts that we look for to actually take the trade. It has the highest probability, and it's been successful for me. Once you get this and it's in your hands and you want to recreate the rules that works for you, by all means, go for it. And if you want to share it with everyone, that would be great. Okay, we've been answering a few questions and comments, so I thought I better try to hit record again for everyone in case you want to review this. So yes, Jonathan pointed out that we came down. We have been respecting the 34 EMA. The slower CCI did cross over. So from up here, when we could, everything else on the upper part of the chart said, yes, let's go long. We did not take the trade because the slower CCI had crossed down below the zero line. So that saved us a few ticks, right? And the 1 minute Leeloo trend was in a short trend, showing short trending, not buying and going long. So we saved ourselves some ticks. We did not take it. But yes, the 34 EMA is still holding price action. So we are still looking for longs. Okay, let me pause this and we can start talking more. If there's anything of value, I'll turn it back on. Okay. Yeah, as you guys pointed out, you're right. The slower CCI crossed above the zero line. Now we have the lower half of the chart that's confirming longs, as well as the upper part of the chart. We have price riding the 8 EMA. We have price holding above it. We have the 1 minute and the 5 minute in alignment. Okay, now we're going to look for a pullback. We're going to try to get into a trade here and see if we can get a pullback to do that. So I'm on the, you can buy at the ask or you can buy on the bid. That's a little more conservative. Okay, let's see if we can get a pullback. The 1 minute is still in alignment. Oh, okay. This is moving fast, but let's point this out really quickly. So we did get a pullback. We have to wait for the bar to close before we can take an entry. This bar closed and it was down here at the 34 EMA, and the slower CCI crossed below the zero line. We moved into shorts on the Leeloo trend. So hands off, we're back into distribution where they head fake out like they're going to go one direction, but instead they go the other. The way that saved us is we wait for the bar to close. Okay, we did not get an entry here because the bar closed below the 8, below the 21, and down here into the 34s. And we saw this slower CCI crossing over, and here it's now is below the 0 line. We also saw the 1 minute and the 5 minute move into shorts. So yeah, so someone just said it's like gunslinging, like the Wild West as soon as they flip to one side or the other. Yep, exactly. And that's when you stay out. So we've moved over. Let's see where this market's going to take us. We really don't know yet. This is night trading at the moment, or evening trading. Sorry about that. So let's, I don't want to waste time on the recording, but I can ask or answer any questions that anyone has. But this, again, they've moved back into distribution. Distribution is when they move side to side on the 34 EMAs. They don't hold on one side or the other, and we are looking for a trending environment. So far, we still have been biased to the longs, but let's see what shakes out right here. If they can hold these 34s on the south side of the chart, we'll look for a short. But right now, hands off. And as you can tell, when the 8 and the 21 are inside the 34s, that's like the easiest telltale time to know you just don't even trade it. Just hands off, no trades. Okay, so yep, this is night trading or evening trading, but it doesn't matter what time frame, or excuse me, what time of the day it is. It's just reading the chart no matter what time frame it is. So they juked us out on one side, juked us out on the other. That's an old word. I know. That's funny. But we stayed out of it because the 8 and the 21 are inside the 34s. So there's nothing we can do. We just keep our hands off until, first of all, these shake out one direction or the other. Okay, this is a 5-minute time frame chart and Q, and we're going to each side of the 34 EMA's distribution. Okay, yeah, you're right. So we always look in the background. Remember I mentioned 70-35. Someone else pointed that out. And here again, here was 69.67. We held 69.67. They still have been trading on both sides, but let's see if the 8 and the 21 can form out to the, or line out nicely to the upside. Right now we have 70-35. They have spiked it. And by spiking, that just means they pushed above it, and now they're closing back below it. But let's see if they can push above 70-35 and hold above it. Okay, right now a spike is just they've pressed it. They're closing back below it. That's a spike. But now let's see if they can press it and hold back above it. This has been the range we've been constricted in, right here at 70.35 down to 69.32 since 8 a.m. yesterday. So if we can get out above it, we could probably get some pretty good trending action. This has just been in a distribution range for quite some time. And we knew for certain when we didn't want to take trades in it, just easily by looking at the 8 and the 21. So let's see if they can hold out above the 70.35, if they can do more than just spike it, if they can close above it and then hold it. Okay, now that we're holding above 35, anyone want to tell me what we're looking for? Yep. Okay, so Jack J says we are looking for a pullback to the 8 or the 21. Anything else? Are the 8 and 21 confirmed yet? Okay, yeah, no, they're not fully confirmed yet. We want to see this 21 pushing up even a little higher. And then what will we look for once that 21, if it does indeed push back up a little higher onto the 34 or above officially, what will we look for to take the trade? Anybody? Okay, yeah, exactly. A red bar pullback. And when we get to the 8, will we see a CCI pullback, a histogram pullback? Yeah, sometimes we won't. We'll just take it off of the 8 without the CCI pullback as long as we have everything else in confirmation, and we do have the 1 and the 5 and the slower CCI. The trending indication of the CCI is above the 0 line. So let's get these 8 and 21, see if they can shake out. If they can shake out, we are in a trade. We had a push out up above the 35, and now we're holding the 35. Let's see if we can maintain that. Okay, I had a couple questions, so I thought I'd turn this back on here. So you guys can have record of it. Okay, we're still holding the 35. We cannot take this. We don't buy higher highs in this trade. In this trade, on no matter what time frame chart you're on, we are looking for corrections and pullbacks, and we will get a correction. There's always a correction. So we could not take this trade right here off the 8 because, and this was a question, because the 21 and the 8, the 21 is not on or above the 34 right here on this setup right here. We have to have the 34 or the 21 on or above the 34. Okay? Everything else was in alignment, but if you look at nothing more than that, this will save you a lot of headaches because we look for a higher probability and trying to do the exact same thing every time. Now we are waiting for a red bar pullback to at least the 8 or deeper into the 21. If we get to the 21, we'll get CCI pullback as well. The 8 doesn't always get a CCI pullback. We want a correction, we want a pullback, we want a red bar to go long now. Okay, yes, Greg, you pointed out symmetry, and here we had it right here. So here was the first pullback. We want to measure the next pullback against this pullback right here where this blue line is and make sure we maintain symmetry on this next red bar pullback. So yes, good call. So we're waiting for this. Let's slow this down a little because if we get a pullback right here, I will enter long. Everything is in confirmation. And if anyone has any questions, we've gone over it so much, but if anyone has any questions, shout it out. But I think everyone knows what we're looking for now. This 21 is shaking out nicely. Now we have a confirmed opportunity for a trade. And I think you guys all know what we're looking for. You can buy the bid, you can buy the ask, or you can lay it in as a limit. It's totally up to you. So let's get ready. Our fingers on the trigger. We're ready to go. Now we just need this bar to close, and we wait for this bar to close. We do not take it with this setup on when this is forming. We wait for the bar to close, and I usually put a timer on so I know when that bar is going to close. And if you want to put an alert to it, you can do that. That way you can look around, do what you need to do. We know our bias is long right now, and then when you hear that alert, you can look back at your charts. So we're trading on a 5-minute. Okay, I'm going to buy the ask right here. Waiting a little bit. This is still forming. This closed. Everything is confirmed. I'm going to get into this trade. We do have symmetry so far on the pullback. I'm in. I'm going to move my stop up a little bit. Well, maybe I won't. Okay, I'm waiting here. Oh, the 1 minute is not in alignment. I'm going to get out. As soon as I can, I'm going to get out. The 1 minute is not in alignment. And I know, okay, I'm going to try to get out as close to break even as possible. I just know when the 1 minute is not in alignment that I'm better off getting out. So let's make sure this 1 minute is in alignment. We still have a red bar and we can still enter if this 1 minute shakes out. Let's see what we got here. Okay, we've already discussed this, but I wanted to quickly discuss it with the record on. Okay, so this one did work. We did have a nice push. I got out because the 1 minute at the time was vacillating back and forth, and I just know it's better to get out after as many times as I've traded this setup. So now we're waiting for another pullback. We have it. here, this red bar is giving us the pullback. We're holding the 8. We're going to get in right here again. Excuse me. Okay, we're going to get back in here again. Now we're going to try to get a push up and out of here. We've got everything in alignment that we need. So let's see what this can do. When I have a trade that is, we are in a trending environment, I pull over a daily chart. And I look at where the last point was. Let's see right here, 70.64 was the tail of this bar. So I want to see if they can push it to 70.64. If they can get through that, I'm going to look to the tail of the previous high, which is 70.99. So let's see, or 7100, right? So let's just see if we can get a nice run to those. And that's what helps me look for runners, right? I like to fade. So there's the 7100. The 7100 is a psychological level. If we can get a push up to that, that would be a really nice trade here. And I do like to try to hold for targets. And I like to use the daily as my reference once we are trending and in a trending environment to know exactly where we can go. Okay, you see how we got in, you see where we're in, you see how we're managing it. I'm going to move this up even a little closer, save myself a few ticks, and let's see if we can get a push up and out of here. Yeah, everyone, as you're following along, you can take this $226 in profit. Remember from over here, we wanted to take it up to the tail, up to the high of this bar, which was 70.60-ish, right? So they've hit that target. After they hit that target of the high of this bar, they very well could have a pullback. So you can take the profit here of 226 bucks. And then the next target we're going to look for is around 7,100. And I tend to fade that psychological level by a little bit. So you can take this profit and you can wait for another pullback, or you can move it to break even and just hold it. That is up to your preference. I trade a real account, and right now I'm going to take this first target of 70.62. Okay, and I'm going to look for a pullback. So let's see what we have here. Okay, so we have some holding this trade. If you're still in it, I took my profit. I'm waiting for another red bar pullback to hold this 8 or to come down and test this 21. Love a test of the 21. So we can get a bigger run to the 7,100. If we stay in a trending environment, they should tag 7,100. 5-minute chart. So I'm just taking small movements. Really quick, we covered, and I want to cover this for everyone again. When I'm in a trade on a short-term time frame like this and I'm taking small movements, I am watching these faster histogram CCIs. Let me pause this for a second. These faster histogram CCIs. And as they push up, you can see sorry, I'm getting an alert. One second. So as they push up and we're looking on a shorter term time frame chart, that could be a good time to take profit because we want to see them move up slowly, which they did. They moved up, they kind of came back down, they moved up again. And then this was the peak. And then the momentum started to roll back over with the push of this next bar. So that might have been a good time for you to get out. Unless you have been holding since back here, right? Then you just might want to hold to 7,100 and follow the 8 EMA up or the 21. So there's a few different ways to look at it and look at how you take your profit on these faster CCI bars, on the push and the momentum pulling back, or following the 8 EMA up, depending upon where you got in, or the 21 EMA. And then our target right now, because we are in a trending environment, is the next psychological level, which is 7,100. And we also discussed the other profit targets, right, based on the daily chart. So you have that. Okay, everyone's back in on this next trade. We had a pullback on the faster CCI, the 5-minute, the 1 minute is in alignment. We've had a push up to, I don't know, around 100, and I wanted to pause it just to talk about it again. If you're trading this after the fact, after we get this video out to you. We had a red bar pullback holding the 8 EMA, and we're in this trade right now. Let's see, we've got a pretty tight stop because they could push it back down below this 8 EMA. Gonna see where this can get us, and let's see where we can go. Okay, a new bar is formed. We've moved or I have moved my stop to break even. I'm going to move it up above this next bar a little higher and see if we can get a push. I'd like to get right on out of here and hustle. Okay, you can take your $151, and this is exactly what I do in the live market. So you can take your $151 and be done for the day. You've got a couple $100 and in the overnight session. When you're trading multiple contracts, that adds up pretty quickly, but it's the tight stops that's kind of makes it nice. Or you can keep holding for the target of 7,100. They don't always go directly there. Okay, everybody's last trade, as you know, was right here. Some people took profit around $150. Some people got stopped out, and I moved mine up at the close of this bar. This is what you just saw last, and we were out. This rolled over. What we noticed, why we did not get into this trade with the red bar, is we noticed the CCI, the slower CCI, was crossing below the zero line. Once it crosses below the zero line, we're out. We don't do anything. We keep our hands off. No matter what's going on up here, if this closes below the zero line, we just keep our hands off the trade. Right now, they've held the low of the 34 EMAs. We still have a chance to push up to our 7,100 zone if they can keep holding the low of these 34 EMAs. If not, they will just keep our hands off and let it roll over and do nothing. So we're waiting for the same confirmations now again, 31 above, the slower CCI above the zero line, and everything up here to be in alignment. 1 minute needs to also be in alignment. So hands off. Let's see what they can do, and while we're waiting, I'll answer any questions. Okay, yep, we've discussed it. Hands are off still. We've just answered a few basic questions. Everyone seems to be getting it pretty well. 8 and 21 are inside the 34s. Our hands are off. They're moving sideways with the 34 EMAs. Hands off. Let's see if they want to roll this over. Or hold the 34, hold the low of the 34 and push to 7,100. Let's see what's going to happen here. But this is what we're looking for. Hands are off because the 8 and the 21 are inside. We have nothing to do here. Okay, everyone's right. They've held the 34 EMA. Our bias is still long, but we cannot take a trade because the 8 and the 21 are not outside where they need to be. So let's see if they can continue holding the 34 EMA or if they're going to roll it over. They are moving sideways. You can see with the 34 EMAs, they're moving sideways. Our hands are still off. They're rolling it over, so let's see what we've got here. Still nothing to do, as everyone has noticed. And yeah, they're just... yeah, like Jack J said, they're just, the 8 and the 21 are still inside. All you do have to do is take a quick glance. You know you don't want this. You walk away or find a different chart. Okay, they are showing that they're trying to push out and up. We cannot take anything still. The 21 is still inside the 34. We need it on or above. The 8 is correct. The 1 and the 5 minute are correct. And we did have a pullback. I wouldn't have taken it, and y'all know why, because the 21 is inside the 34s. I work to do the same thing every time. Okay, everyone's in this trade. We waited for the 21 to be on the 34, and everything else is in alignment. Let's see if we can get a push up to as close to 7,100 as possible. I will fade it by some, a handful of points, 70.92-ish. See if we can get a push up here. We've got our stop very tight for the risk to the reward, and I'm going to move to break even. Let's see what we got here. Our stop might be too tight. I'm going to move it back down below the low of this bar. I want to see if we can get this pushed to 7,100 that we've been talking about since way back here, and see how they just rarely go right to the destination. And 7,100 is a psychological level.
Target filled.
Okay, we took, I faded the 7,100 level down to 7,092 is where my target was. We ended up with $650 in profit, and I am going to keep my hands off now. Let's see what they do with this psychological level. Do they push through it and hold above it, or do they push back below it? Okay, everyone got into that trade, and yeah, did everyone manage it the same way? Is anyone still in? Okay, some of you are still holding for the 7,100. Okay, sometimes they take that level exactly and sometimes they don't, but I tend to fade it by a little bit, and especially in oil, I'll fade it by, 10 ticks for sure in oil. So, yeah, I'd be following your stop up pretty tight now. We've got $650 overnight trading in one contract, and you can see where we took the trades and where we did not want to take the trades. So if anyone has any questions, give me a shout now, and then we'll fast forward this and get to another day, see what else we're looking at. Everyone got it pretty good? Okay, cool. Okay, good feedback so far. So when they move it up, I would be putting my stop right below the low of the newly formed bar. So if anyone's still in, there you go, and you might get your exact 7,100. Let's see what they can get to. Okay, good. It sounds like everyone's getting it so far. Good job. And we'll keep looking at the markets. Okay, we've been going at it for about an hour here, so why don't we all just take a quick break? I'm going to fast forward this. I'm going to get to another day, see if we can get what we get here. So let's take a little break if everyone's cool. Awesome. I'm going to pause this. You got your 7,100 if you're holding for the exact psychological level. Maybe a little shy of it there. Okay, good job, everybody. Okay, we're back. I hope you guys all had a good break. We're just looking for another market structure, or excuse me, not structure, but looking for some short opportunities for this to roll over. I'm just going to fast forward it to see what we can get. We've already discussed longs a couple of times. Now let's go into some shorts, and then you guys can study this. But I wanted to point this out. So 7,100 was our target. We got 7,100. Had we still been in the room and been trading it, as long as we held the 7,100, I would have taken a few more attempts at going long. I just would not have wanted them to get below 7,100 once we hit that psychological level. So we hit that psychological level, I would have taken a few more attempts to try to take it up and out of here to see how far they could push it. And then again, I would have looked at a daily to see where my targets could have been on a daily. We would have, here they pushed it up to 71.28. I'd be looking in the background. My targets then would be over here on this bar at 71.30, and on this bar would have been the next target at 71.65. I look at the previous highs, and that's just one way you can do it. There's a few different ways, but that is one easy way once they're in a trending environment how you can look for your targets. And you come over to the 5-minute and they push it up to 71.22, and 71.28 would have been my target during that time frame if they held 7,100. Okay, we've all discussed this through replay quickly, but I wanted to do a quick recap for you for when you get this video. Okay, above 7,100, we stayed above 7,100, and this is where on a higher time frame chart you can take advantage of some of these big moves without these little movements affecting you. But we're on a 5-minute chart, keeping our risk low, tighter stops. So depending upon which time frame chart you choose, is kind of more of a risk tolerance So let's look at this. We stayed above 7,100. I said if we stayed above 7,100, you can watch for pullbacks and not let 7,100 get broken. And back here, obviously, it did get broken. We took it back up here. We already discussed that, and we had a rollover. Anytime the 21 or 8 is inside of these EMAs, we're not going to trade it. But we've already discussed all of that, so I don't want to waste anyone's time here. We stayed above the 21 EMA. We kind of vacillated back and forth on the 8, but we did stay above it. We had plenty of opportunities. They came back and they held this 34, and remember that's something we watch for to decipher direction. This 34 is in an upward angle. They held the 34, and essentially after that, after this retest of this 34 on the low, they continued holding long. They held the 21 all the way up to the next psychological level, which was 7,200. They pushed above 7,200. They held that and started rolling over here. And now we've been rolling over ever since, right? We had a spike of 7,230. So we've already discussed all this. It's the same thing as we've been doing. Just wanted to have another recap where they pushed it to the next psychological level of 7,200, held that 34 EMA on the low, held the 21, and then pushed it on up. Okay, so you've had plenty of opportunities to look at long and what we look for a long environment, and what we look for when we don't take a trade. So now while we're all sitting here, we've just been discussing the market structure, and we want to see if we can get any short type environment, short sells environment, and see if we can discuss those. So that's what we're all sitting here waiting for. And while we're sitting here, we're just watching. This was accumulation right in through here, 3 o'clock angle, tight, low volatility. We had a rollover from the 7,200 level. They held above it for a short period and then rolled it over. Now we're under this, right at the 7,200 level. I guess we're still holding above it. We're going to see if they're holding this psychological level or can roll over from here. So let's watch. Let's wait and see. There are no confirmed trades yet. Again, when the 8, the 21 is still inside, the 8 is outside, but we can't take any until this 21 has rolled over onto the 34 is now below it. So let's see what we can get here. Okay, we have this 34 coming. We are riding the 21 with the 34. We can now look for some confirmations. We could have taken this here, right here, on a pullback. Everything was in alignment that we look for. 1 minute, 5 minute, right? 1 minute, 5 minute. CCI is below the 0 line. We were riding, just had a poke above the 8, up into the 21. We would have been stopped out. We did not take it. We were talking about it. We would have been stopped out. They pushed up into the 34, the orange here on the 34, and they rolled it out from there. We have the 21 yet again on the 34. So we've already discussed all this. Just wanted to turn it on really quick, discuss it again. And once they do poke above the 8, a lot of times they do run to the 21 or the 34. Quick recap for when you rewatch this video. Okay, so quick recap. We've just been discussing through all of this junk. We took a small loser right here. Everything was in alignment. The 21 was on the 34. The only thing was the 8 was flattening out, but we did take it and we took a small loser. If some of you might have taken profit at the push of this next bar, I didn't. But we've let all of this shake out. We haven't taken any other trades. The 8 was inside the 21 through here. We had accumulation right through here. They broke down into a short trend. And we discussed some of this. Now we are just waiting. There's still nothing for us to do. If any of you have a question, of course, that we covered when we weren't recording, just when we're not doing this, just email me, and I'm happy to answer any questions as you have them. And email me anytime. Okay, so right now we're all just sitting here waiting for this 21 to cross over and be on the 34 if we are going to continue with shorts. Otherwise, we have nothing to do right here. And so any questions you have, let me know and we'll go over it if we have not already. Okay, so yes, right here was a confirmed trade, right, at 2,300. That's where you're talking about. Okay, it was a confirmed trade. We would have been stopped out. Once they pass above this 8, a lot of times they are going to run to the 21, and sure enough they did, and then they went to the 34, which we did cover that, but in case, you missed it, no worries. So that was confirmed. It would have been a stop out. And that is something you look for, is when they cross above the 8, when they've been holding that 8 and they cross above it, they might run to the 21 and maybe the 34s, and that's what they did. So we took that with a tight stop, or we did not take that in here. There was one over here that we took and we got stopped out on. So that's what we did discuss through that. And let's see. Right here would have been a confirmed, except the 1 minute. Is this where you're talking about? Right next to it, 2350, where it hits the 21 there. Okay, yep. So it did, right here, it would have been a confirmed trade, 21, except this 1 minute was not in alignment. And you had the slower CCI coming up and pushing up. And when it's starting to push up and get close to the 0 line, that's when I start pumping the brakes a bit and being a little more cautious. But it was at the 21. I do allow 121 EMA trade when it's not in alignment. If that would have been the one you would have chosen, you could have taken it and you would have had a small stop out as well. But when this slower CCI starts crossing up and over into the 0 line, I start watching it and start taking things more cautiously also. Any more questions while we're waiting for this to shake out and show us what direction we're going to go? We still have nothing to do. The 21 is starting to come down to ride the 34. Let's see if it can happen. We don't know. Hands off. Don't even guess until, don't trade it until you know. Let's see. What other questions might you have that we didn't cover already? Okay, I think we did cover them. We might not have videoed it, but we covered them. So, if you have questions, something spikes something after we're all done, just email me. Okay, we're all in this trade based on the 8 EMA. The slower CCI is rolled over. We have 1 minute, 5 minute confirmation. We could get stopped out of this because if they push above, we could be going to the 21 or into the 34s. We have a tight stop. And you can see back here, we've already discussed this. Let's discuss it quickly for the recording. Here was an entry right here at 310. The stop was 1 to 2 ticks right above. This was based on trading below the 8 EMA. And, even when you're trading, I just still take it this casually. Once you know what you're looking for, you can take it casually and you can kind of chill a little bit. Here was another entry right here. We had the pullback. Everything else was in alignment. This was based on the 8. And then obviously, like I always say, you're cautious because once they push above the 8, they might be going to the 21 and 34s. So here we have another entry. Your stop would have been right above there. And we had a quick rollover before they leveled this 8 EMA off and came back up into the 21 and 34s. We could not take this entry because the slower CCI was above the 0 line. So let's see what we can get on this trade. I'm going to bring my stop in right above this 8 EMA right here to protect myself a little more. I might get stopped out, but there was a little profit if you really wanted to take it. And I'm just using this 8 EMA right now. how's everyone else doing it? Did anybody take profit on it? It was 30, 40 bucks, 50, I think. Okay, Greg, good work. Good work. You got out, and it looks like it was probably the right decision, because I'm out. But you can see how we handle these. They couldn't get below these lows that they had been putting in here. So now let's see what kind of push we can get up into the 21 or the 34s, and see if we have another confirmation. I'm going to be watching this slower CCI because we are not pushing down below the 100. We're staying up here kind of closer to the 0. So that is going to be something I'm watching. And I'm going to be watching the 1 minute to see where that's sitting. It deciding whether or not I want to take the close of this bar. So let's sit. Let's kind of watch it together and see what we decide. Okay, we wait for the close of this bar. We have 25 seconds left. No one's taken this trade because the 1 minute is not in alignment. That's what you have to start watching as we push further up into these 21s and 34s. And this slower CCI is coming back up into the 0 line. Let's see what it wants to do here. And remember, I allow myself one trade at the 21 when the 1 minute is not in alignment, and I'm going to decide if this is now when I want to take that one opportunity. Let's wait for this bar to close and see where we close. Okay, we're going to give this a chance. This is the one chance I'm going to give at the 21, but I'm going to keep a tight stop on it. If I have a few small stop outs, I'm not too worried. So at the 21, I'm going to keep it tight. I'm going to see if we can get this to push over. You see this slower CCI is above the 0. This was not the good 21 to take, but let's see if we can get out of here. I've tightened my stop. It's a couple ticks, and we're preserving capital all the time. 1 minute is not rolling over. Let's see if we can get it to roll over and push on out of here. And we need this CCI to be accommodating to us as well. I'm going to tighten it up even a little more, preserve a little more profit in case this can't roll over. This slower CCI has to get below the 0 line, and this 1 minute has to roll back over. So let's see what we can get. I'm going to speed this up a little. Okay, so you see how we take losers and how we take winners. And how we work to preserve our capital with every trade we take, and how every trade on a 5-minute chart, I mean, this is a fast chart, 1 in 5 minutes. 1 minute is most twitchy, 5 minute is twitchy still compared to a daily when you're trading off a daily or a 240 or a 480. So you're watching every little nuance. You saw this was above the 0 line. We were at the 21. We couldn't get a push out of here. I tightened my stop. We kept our capital in check and didn't lose too much on it. We've got the 1 minute rolling over. Let's see where this is going to go. And you can see why we wanted to protect ourselves, because once this slow CCI starts coming above the 0 line, they could be pushing it up much further than where we had our stop. And then the 1 minute was rolling over also. So we tightened our stop, we protected our capital, and now let's see if this 34 EMA on the high can hold this. Any questions? Take them now. Okay, good. Okay, yeah, it looks like everyone's kind of grasping it. And yeah, hopefully we've gone through enough examples. You'll still have more questions perhaps, but we've gone through hopefully enough. 34 EMA on the high is holding it. Let's see if we can get some confirmation now on the slower CCI and the 1 minute chart. Yeah, Jack, you're exactly right. That CCI saved us. We knew to tighten our stop. The 1 minute chart and the CCI saved us. Saw the CCI coming up way back here. We saw the 1 minute chart rolling over. And sure enough, look where they tossed it well above the high on the 34 EMA, And let's see if they can roll it over. Now we don't know. Our hands are off. There's no reason to play in this playground and get chopped up. And we know what our rules are. We know the type of trade we take. So you're exactly right, Jack, that CCI can save you. All right, we're just watching it, see how they're going to shake out here. Absolutely nothing for us to do when the 8 and 21 are inside. And no reason to even guess, is my opinion. Wait until we know what they're going to do or have a high probability of knowing what they're going to do. Okay, we're in this 8 EMA trade. We did get a pullback to the 8 EMA. I'm going to tighten my stop. Everyone can leave theirs where they'd like, but what I don't like about this trade is this 8 EMA is starting to flatten out. So I, yet again, am going to take this very cautiously. Everything else is in alignment, as we've already discussed. But I do not like that this 8 EMA is flattening out. And there we go. It took us. And that right there was what I was looking at. So those of you who held your stop where it was, anybody? Okay, well, that's cool. Awesome. So you didn't take too much of a loss on this. Good. This is coming up. The slower CCI is coming up into the 0 line. Let's see what can happen. Everything was in alignment, but that 8 EMA, you saw it was flattening out. Once it starts flattening out, they can come up into the 21 and the 34s. So we've had a few stop outs, but they've been little. Nothing that's a big deal. I think, what did we take? 3 or 4 stop outs total. And we had a couple nice winners in our 2 hours of being here. I bet everyone's head is fried. I know mine is fried, but we're just going to finish this out. I wanted to at least cover a few more shorts with you, and then we'll wrap it up. And you'll have the video to review for anybody who wants it. Okay, I forgot to turn the recording on. Sorry, guys. But you know what's going on. We jumped the gun a little bit on this trade. The 21 was not quite on the 34. The everything else was in confirmation right over here, and the 1 minute was not. So we did jump the gun a little bit on this. We're in it. We have a tight stop. We could have taken $100 in profit if you wanted it. They could run it back up into the 21s and the 34s. Let's see what we can get out of it. And since we did jump the gun, I'm probably just going to get out and take a little profit. If I can get out with a little profit. Okay, I'm going to get out with a little profit here. Wait for a better entry. As I said, since we did jump the gun, we were lucky to get that. The 1 minute was there for a moment, but then it switched out by the time we entered, and on the bar close, it was green. So better to just get out if we get a chance to get out and take a little profit. Did anyone grab anything? $100? Okay, so at least you can see how we handle it when we jump the gun. There are times when you will, it's natural, but you just try not to. But you can see how we handle it and where we get out. So we've grabbed a little bit, and now we're going to wait for the actual right entry since we jumped that one, or I jumped that one. Right, Jack J, that's exactly right. It's just based on the 5 EMA right here. We did have a pullback. We have all of the same confirmations, as y'all know. This 8 EMA needs to stay at a downward angle. If it starts flattening out, I'm going to exit this trade. We have a stop right here. We had it just above this 8 EMA. I moved it back down just a tad above the red bar that's now currently forming. Yeah, and we covered this. You're right. That was an entry right here based on the 8 EMA with a tight stop right above the high of that bar. We've got $86 in profit now with this trade. We had the pullback to the 8 EMA. We had the CCI pullback. Slow trending is, slow CCI is below the 0 line. Sorry, you guys, we've been sitting here for so long. Is anybody else? Oofta. Anyone else? Brain fried? But hopefully you're getting a good feel of this. So here you can move to break even. You can watch this 8 EMA. And here is another option. Like I said, when you get into a real trending environment, we have a psychological down here level at 7,100. This market could very well push down here now to 7,100. So I watch these psychological levels on every instrument. And one thing you need to remember too, or you don't need to remember, I remember, on the ES is in the ES has price memory. So they will, when you practice the ES in replay, you'll notice certain levels getting hit and they'll vacillate from one level to the next. And so it does have price memory. Really quickly, I want to pull this over. We've done this several times, but I want to do it again with the recording going. Remember, one of the ways I look for targets when we get into a true trending environment is on a daily level. I like to keep reference to where we are, and 7103 is a daily level from back here. Okay, right here, this bar, 7103, I think it is the high. 70, yeah, right about there, 7,100, 7,103, right in there. Okay, if we can get through the high of this, I'm going to be looking to the next level, which is 70.35, which is this bar, and that's that tail. These are the highs and lows of these bars, and I watch for those for targets, and I look in the background. There's other ways to look for targets, but this is just an easy one that I use when we have a real trending environment. Okay, let's start it up. Let's see what we can get out of this, and then I think we're about ready to wrap it up. Anybody else? You guys have lots to go through, and you can always ask me questions. So is anybody else about to wrap this up? Yeah. Okay, Jonathan. Yep. Jack J. Great. Greg. Perfect. And yeah, there's another Greg in our group who built a squeeze indicator for us, volatility indicator for us. He's not here, but anyway, that's cool. So, okay, I'll move this down a little bit. You know, the target I'm going to look for is 7103-ish right in here. And if I can hold this, if this price can hold this 8 EMA, I'm going to try to hold it. The other option is to just take profit and look for another blue bar retracement to the 8 or up into the 21 and all of our other qualifications. Okay, let's give it a go. Yes, right, Jack. So price is holding below our 8 EMA. Because of that, I'm going to just keep going with it and holding for our target. If you want, you have $300 in profit. But the main thing isn't for me to look like some sort of hero while we're trading this in front of you. It's just to give you options and show you how it can be done and how we take our entries for this specific trade, how we can take exits. And then, yeah, you can practice and do this on your own and shout with questions. So we've got the 8 EMA. It's still following the 8 EMA. We've got $200 in profit. You can take it and hold for that target or get, they could be coming up back up into the 21. That's okay. I'm okay with that. I got stopped out. Replay is going really fast. They're most likely going to hit this 7,100 profit target. And our entry was way back up in here. And you see, if I would have held it at break even up here above the 21 and followed it with the 21, we wouldn't have been hit. So that's another option for you just to keep in mind, or just keep following it down at the 8, take profit, or, when you have $200 to $300 of profit and we have that tight a stop, take it. So they're most likely going to get to the 7,100 level, but they might have to come back up and recheck this 34 EMA on the high. That's another area they sometimes will check before they go to a target. So if you guys are cool and you think you've gotten enough out of this, let's wrap it up. You saw how it was done, and that was the most important thing to me. Anything else? Any other questions before we go? Okay, I'm going to shut the recording off and we'll wrap it up. Thanks, everybody, for coming, and I really appreciate your time. You can shout anytime with questions. Okay, yeah, I'll say this for the recording, too, so you can hear it again when you listen. they allegedly say that you can make 40 decisions in a day. I think it's 40. So when you're trading, I don't tend to, I sit down and I leave and I sit down and I leave because otherwise my mind is fried. So keep that in mind when you're trading, 40 decisions in a day. And once you've hit your limit, don't push it. Look for exactly what we're looking for. You know what we're looking for. And, just go back through and watch everything again if you want, or email me, send me your charts with questions, whichever. But yeah, I really appreciate everyone being here. First class I've done. So I'm glad to hear y'all think you got some value out of it. That's the most important thing to me. So anyway, I hope you guys have a great rest of your year, and 2019 right around the corner. Thanks. Okay, recording's going off and we can have a little chat.